Chris Neil has announced his retirement from the NHL, so I thought today we'd take a look back at his 15-year career with the Ottawa Senators. And that's coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If this is your first time to the channel, thanks for stopping by. On this channel, we review and analyze all 31 NHL teams with an unbiased opinion. So if you love hockey, hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss anything. As I mentioned in the opener, longtime Ottawa Senators forward Chris Neil has announced his retirement from the NHL. Chris Neil was fortunate enough to play for 15 seasons. Considering the type of player he was, that's certainly quite an accomplishment for him to play 15 seasons, play over 1,000 games. He only ranks third all-time in Ottawa Senators history for games played, only behind Chris Phillips and Daniel Alfredsson. So considering the type of player Neil was compared to those guys, that's quite an accomplishment. I mean, obviously Chris Neil is known for his scraps, and he was certainly a heart and soul kind of guy, but the guy could do more than fight. If you look back in the late 90s into the 2000s when Neil was in his early days, there was a lot of players that it was known that they'd have like an enforcer or a goon. And even though Chris Neil could play that role as an enforcer, that wasn't the only reason he made the team. He was a hard worker. He worked really hard, and he did have some skill. Obviously, he never scored a lot of goals, but it's not like he had zero skill and could not play a regular shift. When you look at some of the other guys that were in that similar type of role in other teams, a lot of them would sit on a bench for the whole game, getting amped up, ready just to have one fight, and they have like maybe a 1 minute to 2 minute ice time, and that's all you see. Neil was better than that. Neil did not fall into that category, in my opinion. He's always been the underdog. I mean, we've seen him fight a lot of guys that were, a fair bit bigger than him, and he never shied away. He was never scared, and he always did his best, and he won a lot of those battles too. Not only getting into the battles, but winning them makes a big difference. He knew how to get his teammates and the crowd going, and he played a vital role into injecting a lot of energy and life into into not only with the team, but into the building when they were playing at home, especially. So Chris Neil's always been an underdog. He started off, he was a late round draft pick into the OHL, and then he was a late round pick into the NHL. He was only drafted 161st overall in 1998 by the Senators. He spent 3 years in the minors working on his craft and trying to become a regular NHL player, which he finally accomplished the NHL in 2001. So obviously, playing 15 seasons, he done pretty well considering all things. He ended up racking up over 2,500 penalty minutes. I think that's an easy one here, is to say that that's something that we're not going to see too many Ottawa Senators going forward have any chance to accomplish. Considering the amount that fighting is down, and you don't see the fighting and the misconducts and things like you used to, obviously that's something that other Senators aren't going to be striving for and will have no chance to break. But obviously he's done a lot for the community as well. Him and his wife Caitlin have been doing a lot of great things for Roger Nielsen's house, and he's certainly going to remain on with that as well. I think even though Chris Neil might be retired, he's still going to be a very active member of the community. He's certainly also indicated for sure that he is going to be taking part in the Ottawa Senators alumni game this weekend. Obviously with the big outdoor game against the Montreal Canadiens, they have a big alumni game, Team Phillips versus Team Alfredsson coming up, and Neil's going to be joining in for the fun festivities on that, so that should be fun to watch as well. I think it's safe to say, considering all things, I think Chris Neil had a fantastic 15-year career. I'd personally like to congratulate him on everything he's accomplished. I think Sens fans in general have a lot of respect for Chris Neil and everything he did for the team and how hard he played. The big question I have for you guys is, are the Ottawa Senators going to retire his number? Are we going to see number 25 up in the rafters? That's what I want to know. Personally, I know that when you go down and you look at all the other retired numbers, not just in Ottawa because there's not much there, but across the league, typically it's your high-end skilled players who scored a ton of goals and racked up a lot of points. Obviously, he's not that kind of player. But you could argue, I think, that he meant so much to this team and he played for so long that I think it would be a wise move to do. I think at the very least, I know in the Canadian Tire Center they have the Ring of Honor. I don't think there's any doubt he could end up in that for sure. But what I want to know from you is, A, two-part question here. Should they retire his number, and will they? Because obviously not all teams do everything they should, and obviously in due time. Just because he just announced his retirement, so I can't imagine we're going to see anything this season. But, maybe it's possible next year or the year after. We could certainly see them have a nice ceremony for Chris Neil and have that jersey up there. Personally, I think it's something they should strongly consider. I mean, he meant a lot to this team And, you know, yeah, he wasn't the guy scoring 30, 40, 50 goals, racking up 100 points. But you know what? He meant a lot to this team and a lot to the city. And I think it would go a long way and be an excellent move on the Senators' part to raise that to the rafters. So let me know what you think if that should be done, and we'll catch you in the next video. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to leave a comment and give me your thoughts on if number 25 should be retired and raised to the rafters. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button in the middle of your screen so you can keep watching Top Shelf Hockey.